They say lightning rarely strikes the same spot twice, but Disney's latest live-action gamble proved that sometimes it can hit harder the second time around, and leave everyone feeling more than just a little singed. If you've ever wondered how a studio as powerful as the House of Mouse could stumble so spectacularly, buckle up. Today, we're looking behind the curtain of a remake so controversial that even the stars involved seem to wish they'd never bitten into that poisonous apple. Long before there were massive theme parks or Marvel-inspired cinematic universes, Disney was built on the back of a simple fairy tale, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Released in 1937, it was the first feature-length animated film and remains a cornerstone in cinematic history. To many, it's sacred, a story so iconic that Disney occasionally re-releases it just to remind everyone how it all began. So when word broke that the studio was taking another swing at remaking this beloved tale, most fans expected a guaranteed treasure. After all, live-action reimaginings of classic animated hits, despite some misfires, have historically drawn massive ticket sales. Throw in a talented leading lady with a strong singing voice, big-budget special effects, and the benefit of 80-plus years of Snow White nostalgia, and it seemed like a recipe for success. Behind the scenes, Disney executives likely saw it as an easy way to appease a new generation of viewers who crave modern twists on old classics. But as we'll see, no amount of behind-the-mirror magic could save them from the unpredictable controversies to come. Enter the actress chosen to play Snow White, an up-and-comer who'd garnered attention for her vocal abilities and stage presence. On paper, she seemed like a solid fit, talented, poised, and possessing the kind of youthful energy that Hollywood loves to market. But early on, subtle hints began appearing. In interviews, she casually called the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs old-fashioned or weird, suggesting the 1937 classic was outdated. Fans who cherished its fairy tale innocence started raising eyebrows. It felt like hearing your favorite restaurant's new chef insult the signature dish. Sure, she was hired to freshen it up, but did she have to toss the vintage recipe out altogether? Almost overnight, social media erupted. Disney fans, famously protective of the studio's iconic legacies, expressed immediate concern. Had the new leading lady misunderstood the very story she was meant to bring to life? Was her irreverent tone an attempt to modernize the narrative, or was she just openly disrespecting the film that sparked an entire era of animation? By the time her comments reached mainstream attention, the fire was blazing too high for Disney's PR teams to douse easily. Each new interview snippet seemed worse than the last. Claims that the original Snow White was a relic, that it needed to be fixed for current times, or that it glorified a toxic romance. Online critics pounced, calling the actress ungrateful or clueless. Defenders shot back with claims that she was simply championing a progressive version of the tale. But no matter how you looked at it, the actress's dismissive approach came off as jarring. After all, she had been hired to carry on a beloved cinematic tradition, yet sounded more like she resented it. Soon, there were rumors that Disney's higher-ups were scrambling to manage the fallout. Supposedly, internal memos flew around demanding a unified message from cast and crew. Interviews were quickly reframed, with the actress walking back her original comments, claiming she always adored Snow White and truly respected its vintage charm. The whiplash in tone left fans rolling their eyes. Was she suddenly contrite, or was it just a scripted pivot to contain the ever-growing PR storm? Next came the release date shuffle, marketing adjustments, and cryptic teasers meant to refocus attention on the magic of the new adaptation. But the damage was done. When the film finally hit theaters, box office returns were tepid at best and dismal at worst. Critics lambasted the final product's muddled tone, CGI effects that felt more like placeholders than enchanting visuals, and an overall disconnect from what made the original an enduring favorite. Then there was the dwarfs controversy. In an attempt to dodge accusations of insensitivity, initially raised by a well-known little person actor, Disney swapped out the iconic Seven Dwarfs for what they labeled magical creatures. When leaked set photos confirmed the bizarre change, fans let out a collective groan. Many asked why Disney wouldn't simply modernize the dwarfs respectfully or hire a more diverse cast of actual little people. Instead, the famously inclusive studio made a decision that seemed to irritate both sides of the debate. With negative headlines stacking up, ticket sales began sliding faster than a doomed roller coaster. Parents who might have brought their kids to a cheerful retelling of Snow White hesitated after hearing the lead actress mock the original story. Classic Disney enthusiasts stayed home, referencing clips of the star's interviews where she dismissed the fairy tale's romantic elements as irrelevant and dated. What was once a promising career milestone turned into a meme-fueled circus. People joked on social media that the star was practically Disney's own poison apple, tanking the film long before opening night. Some of her half-hearted apologies came across as forced, especially when spliced into viral compilations of her contradictory statements. Meanwhile, the House of Mouse felt the sting in its pocketbook. Between marketing, production, and hasty damage control, the film's losses piled up. Investors wondered aloud whether the new wave of remakes was worth the risk if a single star could unravel decades of goodwill. Would future live-action projects face the same pitfalls? For the actress, rumors emerged that certain filmmakers were now wary of casting her. It's one thing to have an outspoken performer, it's another to have them openly disparage a beloved classic in front of the entire internet. Especially in an industry built on illusions and nostalgia, burning bridges with the fan base is a near-fatal move. In the end, this was no fairy tale ending. Instead, it's become a legend of how quickly a studio can topple from the high ground of nostalgia to the harsh realities of public scrutiny. Where Snow White once represented the innocence and optimism of Disney's golden era, this remake highlighted the perils of modernizing without nuance and the devastating cost of a star's damaging remarks. Maybe there's a lesson here about respecting original works. Perhaps it's a cautionary tale for Hollywood to carefully vet anyone attached to a long-standing brand. Or maybe it's a reminder that fans wield more influence than ever, capable of turning the tide with a few keystrokes and a flurry of trending hashtags. Whatever the moral, one thing remains clear. No amount of glitz or magical creatures can save a project from the consequences of poking fun at what made it beloved in the first place. As the credits roll on this botched fairy tale, we're all left wondering, will Disney learn its lesson in time for the next remake, or are we looking at a kingdom perched on a cliff's edge? Where do you stand on this entire Snow White drama? Do you believe a different lead actress could have breathed new life into the project, or do you suspect the concept was already teetering on the edge before cameras ever rolled? Has Disney pushed its luck by reinventing a timeless classic? Or have modern audiences simply become too protective of the 1937 original? We'd love to hear your take on whether this was a case of misguided casting or a doomed remake from the start. Share your thoughts below, and be sure to join us for more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest triumphs, wildest failures, and everything in between. After all, if this fiasco proves anything, it's that once the fans decide a film has lost its magic, even the fairest kingdom in the land can't reverse that spell.